Welcome. Today we are exploring key principles for effective leadership and active listening. So let's dive in and explore how listening can strengthen trust, create safe spaces, and build influence within our leadership roles. In every podcast, my intention, is to discuss something that will lessen your stress and help you to defeat cancer, sickness, and disease in your life. I'm Shirley Farrar, and this is Encouragement on Fire. So first, I want to say that it is the holiday time. It's the holiday season. I have on something warm because I'm in a place in my home that doesn't have as much heat, but that's because I had to steal away. I had to get to you. I have a house full of family and friends, but I knew that it was very important that we communicate today. This is the end of the season, and I never want to not have a conversation with you. So one thing I hope we can agree upon is that listening is not just an action, it's a powerful tool. It can shape the dynamics of any team or organization. So let's dive in and let us explore how listening can strengthen trust, create safe spaces, and build influence within our leadership roles. First, example number 1, gaining trust through listening. First and foremost, let's talk about trust. As a leader, the foundation of your relationship with your team is built on trust. One of the most effective ways to gain that trust is through active listening. When team members feel heard, it fosters an environment of respect and collaboration. They know their voices matter, which can motivate them to engage more fully in their roles. In the Holy Bible, in Proverbs 18:13, this is a scripture we constantly go over, but it says to answer before listening, that is folly and that is shame. This is one of those verses that reminds us of the importance of listening before responding. When leaders truly listen, they demonstrate that they value their team's insights and experiences. Another example is creating safe spaces. Let's consider how leaders can create safe spaces where people feel heard. A safe space encourages open dialogue and transparency, allowing team members to express their thoughts, their concerns, without fear of judgment or repercussions. As a leader, you can establish this environment by 3 ways. Being accessible. By being accessible, you make time for your team. Open door policies can encourage more informal discussions. Number 2, showing empathy. Respond with understanding and validate their feelings. Number 3, encouraging feedback. Regularly invite thoughts and opinions, letting them know that their input is valued. When people feel safe to share, it breeds a culture of trust and belonging. Number 3, listening to learn versus listening to reply. I'll say it again. Listening to learn versus listening to reply. It's essential to distinguish between listening to reply and listening to learn. Many of us fall into the trap of waiting for our turn to speak instead of truly absorbing what others are saying. Listening to learn requires us to do a few things. We must focus on understanding the speaker's perspective. We must resist the urge to formulate our responses while they are still talking. I'm still working on that. And then ask clarifying questions to ensure that we grasp their ideas fully. This approach not only leads to better outcomes, but also shows your team that you are genuinely invested in their insights. Example number 4, building influence by valuing voices. Building influence by valuing voices. As leaders, we build our influence by valuing the voices of those we lead. When we actively listen and honor their contributions, we empower them to take ownership of their work and ideas. I'll say that again. We empower them to take ownership of their work and their ideas. In the Holy Bible, there's a story with Moses and Jethro in Exodus 18:13-24. A perfect biblical example was found there in Exodus. Moses is overwhelmed with duties of leadership. He receives wise counsel from his father-in-law, Jethro. Jethro advises Moses to delegate some responsibilities to capable men. That's the key, capable men, allowing him to focus on more significant issues. Moses listened intently to Jethro's advice, demonstrating that he valued the insights of others. This is a critical action that ultimately led to a more efficient and collaborative leadership structure. In this very moment, Moses not only acknowledged Jethro's experienced perspective, but also showed humility and openness. These are qualities that resonate deeply with effective leadership. Example number 5, a practical exercise. Now that we've explored the importance of listening as a leader, let's put this into practice. Here's a simple exercise for you to try with your team or your family. Ask your team or family for input on one decision you're facing, whether it's work-related or personal. As they share their thoughts, be sure to listen actively. Afterward, reflect back on what you heard to ensure you understood their perspectives correctly. This practice not only enhances communication, but also reinforces the value you place on their opinions. As we conclude today's episode, remember that listening is a fundamental skill that can transform your leadership approach. Through active listening, you can gain trust, create safe spaces, distinguish between listening to learn and listening to reply, and ultimately build greater influence within your relationships. I invite you to implement this exercise in your next meeting or family discussion. This is an opportunity during the holiday season, and you will have plenty of time. Let's prioritize listening and watch how it strengthens our connections. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe, share it with others, and join us next time for more insights on effective leadership. Thank you for tuning in today, and until next time, may your listening lead to deeper understanding and stronger relationships. I'm Shirley Farrar, and this has been Encouragement on Fire. I'll talk to you soon.